I have the girls out housekeeping today, so they're busy cleaning up top centering clusters, adjusting medication strips, scraping bottom boards, blah blah blah. Carrie's checking all the flagged hives for viability, shaking out colonies, identifying the viables to need a boost. And I'm poking around, prepping yards to move. And I happened upon the ARC yard again. I've been spending a little bit of time just recently assessing the ARC hives because it's been 2 weeks since, and I should know, they should be able to tell me exactly where they're at after that huge event. I'm going through and, it is what it is. Quite a few of these colonies have really been slapped back, but there's still quite a few colonies that are actually taking a step forward. It's quite surprising. I mean, if you would have told me while I was in that yard that I'd be putting seconds on some of these ARC hives, I would have called you nuts. So that's promising. I've brought those ARC hives from the honey house, which I've identified as too small to sustain themselves, but potential there. So I want to promote that viability, and I'm taking them and bringing them to this ARC yard to put those on top of the big ones that need seconds. So what I'm doing is I'm identifying the boxes of bees that are about to explode. Those ones will be able to adjust themselves a little more efficiently, effectively as I proceed through this work. So this one here identified as a box of bees. Wow, 8 frames of bees. I'll call that 9 frames of bees. Close enough. These girls have a lot of girth. They've devoured their patties. Should be putting more patties on, but I'm kind of walking that balance right now. I see that cool weather coming on the weekend, but at the same time, these bees are bringing in loads of pollen, and they're going to be bounding up this nest anyways. So there's no use feeding supplement when you don't need to feed supplement. What I'm doing is I'm doing that old newspaper, merger trick. Newspaper, queen excluder. Hive up on top. Now the work on this colony is done for a little while. I need that nest to continue to grow, chew through the newspaper, move up into that top box, mingle, so both queens survive. So then they're sporting 2 brood nests in about 3 weeks. I'm going to get into that first week of June, somewhere in there, and I'm going to pull those top boxes off and put them in a new location site. So fingers crossed. I've been putting a lot of time into salvaging these units. Maybe it's a guilty conscience, but it's more so there's just no bloody bees around to be able to replace all these dead out spots. So I'm putting a little bit of extra effort in to make sure I'm keeping all these places full. I have people hounding me to buy nukes, and I'm not at that spot yet. I want to be able to, feel what I actually have. And then if I have surplus stock, I'll sell it. But if I don't, I got to keep them, because honey is worth a fortune right now. And things are adding up. If you have live bees, things are adding up to a monster crop. So I just got to make sure I look after everything at home here, and then make sure that we get things set up for this flow. You guys are light. That's a box of bees. They're starting to draw some drone comb in the bottom. Pitter patter. Let's get at her. So that's pretty much the warning sign for me to start transferring these into single boxes. That, and there's a queen cup there. That's really nice. It's really nice to see. They definitely need feed. I'll have to come around and provide them with a little bit of feed. Done their patties. They do have feed on hand. Nice slab of honey there. Oh, it smells good. This side is right full of pollen. That is a really nice frame to have in this colony. That'll hold them through this tough weather that's just about to come this weekend. I haven't been down in too many nests here, so I'm not exactly sure where they are. I've just been, assuming where they are. Ooh, there's a beautiful frame of brood. So I'm looking at a patch of cap brood there, surrounded by eggs. Same on this side here. A nice capped patch of brood. Some space, some eggs, some pollen, some nectar or syrup, whatever it is. Nice frame of brood. Frame of brood with nectar or syrup kind of all over the place in there. Rimmed with open brood. These hives have had a bit of a tough go, so it's going to take a few rounds to get the tough nature of this nest out. Cat brood, and then open brood all over the place. Yeah, there's quite a bit of cat brood in here, so I'm going to have to be pretty swift. I think next week what we'll do is we'll start transferring these nukes. We'll transfer the nukes into single boxes, and as we go we'll leave them out to about 3 frames of brood, 2.5 to 3 frames. Boost the smaller ones, take from the big, give to the small, as we transfer into single boxes. Here's a frame of, there's that tough nature to the brood nest. It's just, I'm not faulting the queen on this because they've just had such a tough go. And then she's got that packed right full of open larvae. That's a little bit better on that side. A hard time faulting her with such tough conditions, and once she starts shaking things out, then she'll be able to bring the uniformity back into this brood nest. something to what we can recognize. I haven't found her yet, but I'm kind of working in a shadow here. Here's a beautiful frame of open brood. And I have that white mature larvae out, rimmed with eggs. And the same on this side. This side will be a slab of brood once it's up and gone. I haven't found her. I must be... I don't know where she is. This brood is nice and lush though. But they are a little bit dry. I did notice that there isn't a lot of open syrup or open feed around the outside. These guys need syrup. These flowers would hurry up here. We could get some dandelions and that would satisfy them, but I don't even know how far out they are. We have some cold weather coming this weekend. It's going to slow things down again, so we can't really wait on the natural stuff, but to keep providing the supplements. More syrup. So I'm giving a tremendous amount of patience to these nests. There's just been such a hard go over the last month or so, and you can see it in the nest. There's not that uniformity. It's just not there yet. But give it 2 or 3 weeks. Just shake things out. That queen will start bringing that uniformity back into that nest and grow, right? And there's not a lot of pressure in that nest. They're going to emerge. They're going to fill up. I have some time there. Like I have a couple weeks to move the bees from that box into the new one, so I'm not in any hurry. But everything's going to come at me at once here. So I've got to get these out to the summer yards. That's where we're going to transfer them, because then there's too many hives in here to transfer them. There'll be so much chaos and too much drift. So they're going out to the summer yards, and we'll set them up. And then next week, maybe middle of next week, if it's warm, we'll transfer them. And then about that time, we will probably, by the end of the month anyways, I'm thinking we will be sorting through the main hives, because they look much the same. The brood nest is just, so we need some time just to whip that into shape, and then by that time we'll be able to have some slabs of brood we can pull up and actually make not some splits, but start making some nukes. There's enough big ones. I should be able to, we should, even if I can yield 1, maybe 2 frames of brood per big colony, that should help fill all my nuke boxes. So yeah. So as I just try to work things through here, trying to figure things out, nothing's really pressing now. I'm just kind of waiting. Nice weather. Let these bees collect the feed, let these bees grow, and then just proceed. Things are going to be really late. And I'm not even thinking of grafting yet, so that's likely going to be at the end of the month, beginning of June even. We'll start with that. That puts us super late. But when you look at the rest of the farm, we haven't turned a wheel yet. We can't even get fertilizer on. Guys are probably going to mud some fertilizer on. We don't want to do that because you don't want to make a mess. So we're trying to find our driest fields, which will make less mess. We've got to be patient, just got to be patient. But time's ticking. And we're almost past our comfort zones with crops like sunflowers. and corn, you know, typically where the wheat's up and ready, almost ready to spray in about 2 weeks. We're just so far behind. So anyways, because of that, things are going to add up anyways. So I can't just, you know, push and force things along. I just got to let things happen. Because the bees are late, the crop is late, so everything's going to kind of peak at the same time anyways. So just be patient. We don't want to wreck anything. We just have to let things happen. And that's all there is to it. You just got to keep the damn syrup on them. Man, that bill's going to be pretty hefty this year. What do we have here? Is there any brood in this side?
There's this, and then there's open on that. There's open pollen, open brood and pollen on this side. A little bit of capped. Very carefully.
It's about half a frame of, and there's what's around that brood?
Eggs. And eggs.
Eggs. That's nice. Freshly capped.
There's some eggs.
Eggs in that one too?
Yeah, a little bit. Right
Gee
there.
whiz.
There she is.
So this hive, Carrie literally pulled it out of the water. It was floating down the creek. Literally floating away. And I don't know how, and you shook them into dry equipment. I don't know how this is possible. So there's at least one frame, a brood, which we could calculate to maybe 3/4 frame, whatever. Open brood, eggs. So there's quite a bit of ambition here. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Unscathed. Well, geez. That is something else. Maybe we should submerge the rest of them.
Don't try that.